For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me.
And until we meet again, whatever you do and wherever you go, I pray that you may go with God.
Oh, yeah.
God bless.
I'm glad you come.
And I'm glad that I came too.
You just made my day.
You're so kind.
And,
Yes, indeed.
keep up the good work.
Oh, I am going to keep trying. And I don't see any reason for quitting, so I'm just going to be doing the best I can as long as I can. So.
Well, may God speed your way.
My name was Father Biting. I'm a Catholic priest.
This is Father Ralph W. Biting. His journey through Appalachia has spanned nearly half a century and taken him 1,000,000 miles along winding mountain roads.
Christian Appalachian Project.
Tens of thousands of other Christians from all denominations have joined him in this journey, providing gifts of money, goods, and time that have touched literally millions of lives in some of America's poorest communities. This is not a film about poverty. It's a film that shows how one man's obedience to God has created one of America's most remarkable private efforts to serve humanity in all religions. This film showcases the people served and those in service. It explores successes, innovations, and possibilities for and in Appalachia.
I would love to see the days of Daniel Boone and Simon Kenton and George Rogers Clark and William Whitley and James Harrod and all those wonderful pioneers come back to life again. At one time, Kentucky and its Appalachian area and this central Kentucky area was the most exciting spot in America. This is where people dreamed to come. This is where they wanted to be free. Wouldn't it be wonderful if all of us could help bring back those days? That we could stir up that enthusiasm in our people once more? And that there would be an outpouring of work and dreams and all kinds of productivity out of Eastern Kentucky once more. Let us pray for each other that surely this may come about.
Father Biting arrived in Appalachia in 1946, when as a seminary student, he spent a summer helping with Bible schools, street preaching, and helping the poor. A child of the Great Depression himself, he understood a lot about being poor, but that still did not fully prepare the young priest for the spiritual and physical isolation and desolation he encountered. Catholics have always been few in the mountains, and as he preached in the streets and in the hollers, Father Biting was sometimes met with suspicion, occasionally outright hostility. The threats and rotten tomatoes didn't worry him. What did distress him were the pleas for help from families struggling for basic survival in a region where the coal-based economy had diminished. As he carried food and clothing into the mountains, he realized he had to become more than a truck driver, and that his efforts should have more long-term effects. To help, he needed help, so he turned to his family, his friends, and to his Catholic colleagues and students. He spread the word, bringing donations and volunteers from across America into the Appalachian region. Soon, trucks replaced his automobile. In 1964, he gave the effort he had created an official name, the Christian Appalachian Project. Project to indicate that it would be an organization of action, of people who would climb mountains, not just talk about them. Christian, to reflect the involvement of spiritually motivated people from all denominations, working together to overcome illiteracy, substandard housing, lack of health care, and few jobs. People eager to rekindle a personal love for God.
Son, and the Holy Spirit. May you go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
The Christian Appalachian Project is an interdenominational, nonprofit organization funded primarily by private donations from individuals and corporations. Millions of dollars in funding and goods are collected and distributed each year, some arriving by the truckload, others $5 and $10 at a time. Grounded in simple, down-to-earth, common-sense principles, CAP, as it's called, serves more than 50,000 people a year in the 49 Appalachian counties in Kentucky, and an additional 500,000 people in the 13 Appalachian states. Over 70 social and economic programs reflect the passion of Father Biding and the ingenuity of the founding mission to help people of the mountains free themselves from poverty and despair. A school bus literally becomes a school on wheels to help people study and train for the GED literacy exam. The bus goes to the mouth of the hollers to make education more accessible. A vacant hotel becomes a residential home for the elderly. Used clothing shops become community meeting places where ideas, needs, and prayers are shared. CAP staff are able to respond to needs quickly and effectively with innovation and pragmatism, kindness and frugality.
Some sort of job.
Back when we were looking at economic development in the old...
An in-kind donation distribution program called Operation Sharing shares donated goods with over 1,000 churches and community-based programs, helping 500,000 people.
Mike, you'll remember these shells we had.
From summer camps for youngsters to crisis intervention to elderly visitation programs and to teen centers to daycare, rent assistance programs, and to medical assistance, CAP is there listening and ready to respond. It's not surprising that Father Biding and his CAP workers and volunteers have gained worldwide recognition as living Samaritans, as modern-day pioneers.
You're the very best, all the very best. You're the very best in all you do. You're the very best. We put you to the test, and we're the very best because of you.
Mike, when I first started, the most important thing people were asking were for clothes and food and things of this nature. And I used to go to my family up in northern Kentucky and bring it back in the trunk of my car, and then the bishop made it possible for me to have a station wagon. And I think of those days when I was cradling everything into a little bit of space. What's happening here now?
Well, now it comes in 53-foot tractor trailers, and it's amazing because the gifts are, most of the stuff that we get is new or very, very lightly damaged, very usable. And what we're finding out is of the 15 states that we're able to ship materials back out to, and we get information back from those people, they just can't believe that they're getting both the quantity as well as the quality of materials that we're giving them. And this is, what they're saying is, it is just saving them a tremendous amount of money, because where before they were having to spend that capital money and supply money to purchase things, they're able now to put that back into their programming and to directly assist the people better.
One of the things I appreciate about what you all are doing is how quickly you get it distributed out to all those. How many agencies are you working with now?
About 1,100 agencies and churches and
How
organizations.
that goes out almost on a daily basis and gets distributed and immediately gets used, and it doesn't sit in warehouses and collecting dust.
That's the key to it. Is when we get it in, get it out. And the other thing is we do the same thing in picking it up. People, I think that's one reason they're very generous to us. When they call us with a need to get material out of their warehouse, we get it almost immediately, and we take everything because we can find a need for everything.
One of the things I want you to be thinking about and praying about is, you told me you got $20 million worth of products in at a very reduced accounting figure. I'm going to tell you, before I'm 75, I want you to have $45 million a year. So that makes you think a little bit, I hope.
Work a little harder.
A little harder and see what can be done. But I'm convinced that it's out there.
It's there.
It's there, and we can be that vehicle again where it can be put to good use and do wonderful things for so many.
There's not a doubt in my mind with the way we're able to get it out to people. If God is satisfied with the work that we're doing and we're able to meet the needs of that material, and if we need to double, then we can double in size, because He'll see to it gets there.
Think of building materials, because one of the things I want to create is jobs, and some of the things I'm going to have to do is build a building every once in a while to bring that about. So keep that in your mind too, that's one of the things that can be functioning and reproducing itself many times over. One of the nice things about getting old is I can see tractor trailers coming in. I can see a 30,000 square foot warehouse instead of my back end of my car. So keep dreaming.
A visit to the Inez Activities Center in Martin County offers an excellent opportunity to witness numerous CAP programs at work. One of several such centers CAP operates. In the attic store, families purchase clothing and household goods at highly reduced prices. Wonderful books like these are distributed to schools and literacy programs throughout the region.
We're entering into the building that we have at Inez, and it's an interesting spot for me because 50 years ago I came to this county. I was 22 years old, and now I'm afraid I'm 72. And so it was the idea of coming back to where you had begun in Appalachia and seeing what could be done. Martin County is still one of the poorest counties in eastern Kentucky. And so it was important to me to meet a challenge. I felt more like meeting a challenge at 72 than I did at 22. And so I wanted to come here and to see if we could create some hope, some excitement, and some enthusiasm. And this building and what it contains and the activities that go on here is a part of that excitement, a part of that dream. Inside here, we have what we call a rummage store. And really, I would think it would be more like a family store. The good old family stores that used to populate the mountains, where people could come and just relax and do what they want to do. It was the social event of the day. So in here, for example, we have couches and chairs. We have a stereo so that there's music coming through the halls of the store. And people can sit down, and if they want to buy something, fine. If they just want to come and visit with the wonderful workers that we have in the store, the volunteers, then they can tell them their problems, they can pray with them, they can do whatever seems important to them. But this is part of the mystique, because what we're working on is not poverty. What we're working on is people, and people are family. And so if we can create that spirit of family through a store like this, then we've done what we have hoped to do and what our hopes and dreams have been. Besides the socialization, of course, there's all the practicalities that go in with family. Every family needs food, so we have food available to them. Not as much as we would like, but we're trying to acquire other sources all the time to obtain the food that we can make available to the people at a very low cost, a very minimal cost. Some, of course, get it for nothing because they have no means of getting it otherwise. Well, this is the entranceway to this store, and the things that we've been talking about are characteristics of the items in this part of the store. But let's go on in the back and see some of the other things that we find that people are in great need of as well. Richard, I try to keep things like this out of your sight because, I don't want you to be resting. But, here we can have a brand new sofa for $2.50. And so you can see what a tremendous bargain that is. And somebody like you are kind of contoured for that. Sometimes we have to dress up some of our people, like Mike. Here we give him a tie, and he gets to get into better company because of it. In here we have clothing, And one of the philosophies that I've had with clothing is the fact that the poor deserve to be treated in the same way as people with money and with means. And so, for example, everything is hung up and everything is clean and orderly. Nice little shirt with a little horse on it. People can come in, they see the size, they see the color, and all of this kind of business. And so there's a sense of pride. Even the tables have everything sorted out according to their sizes and genders and the fall or the summer and so forth. So it makes the people feel like, gee whiz, they think we're important. They really and truly understand what we're about. And we do, because they are God's children. And therefore, they're the most special things on earth. So this is a way in which we try to do this.
Building materials, insulation, electrical supplies, tin, and other items donated to CAP definitely are put to good use. Just ask Mary and Palmer Hedrick. Safe and comfortable housing is one of the most critical areas of need in Appalachia. Burnouts are common, and CAP strives to eliminate them. The Hedricks consider themselves fortunate to own their own home. Black lung prevents Mr. Hedrick from working, and with no disability income, they, like many Eastern Kentucky families, have no funds to keep their house in repair. Each year, through CAP's home repair program, volunteers and staff help hundreds of Appalachian families improve their living conditions inside and out. There's no charge for material donated through Operation Sharing, but the Hedricks will repay some of the costs of labor and non-donated items. It's all in keeping with CAP's philosophy of lending a helping hand. This day, in appreciation, Palmer adds his own mountain handiwork to the occasion. Between the decline for the need for coal and the increase in the use of mining machinery, the people of Appalachia can no longer count on jobs in the mines. The lack of diverse economic opportunities is perhaps the greatest obstacle to self-sufficiency. Creating new opportunities for meaningful work and starting new businesses has been a CAP priority since the 1960s. Under the direction of George Purcell, a dairy farm was developed with 6 donated Holstein cows and has become one of Kentucky's largest. A silkscreen printing operation, a woodworking shop, and a sawmill are other examples of the enterprises Father Biding and CAP have helped launch.
And you wanted to come down and help out?
One of CAP's first businesses was a Christmas wreath factory in Tyner, Kentucky. With the wealth of evergreen trees in Jackson County, the idea was a natural to succeed. In the course of just a few months each year, more than 100 workers create tens of thousands of fir wreaths and crescents that are shipped around the globe. This is a beautiful reminder of the resources and resourceful people of Appalachia. Success is blooming, literally, at the Anastasia greenhouses in Jackson County. On a 1-acre plot, 30 employees plant and tend flowers of all kinds, grossing $1.2 million per year in sales. The greenhouse operation was developed by Dale Anastasia and his wife Marie. Both former CAP employees. Dale left a job with the U.S. Department of Agriculture to plant seeds of hope in Appalachia. The starting salary with CAP was $50 per week.
That's the kind of excitement, because what we've been able to do with our job creativity is we had to find people with ideas. And you know, that's one of the
Father Biting and camp volunteer Shelley Brown developed another business idea, one which they believe has the potential to be as successful as the Christmas wreath factory and greenhouse, a ceramics workshop located in the basement of an old supermarket in Louisa, Kentucky. For single-parent Belinda Rister, creating and painting chess sets and holiday figurines is a job that means an important paycheck and much more.
I moved up here at the end of February, and I was looking for a job. And I went to church one day, and it was in the bulletin, job opportunities. And so I asked my Uncle Albert about it, and he told me to ask somebody else. And finally, you know, they told me to come in and volunteer a few weeks and then talk to Father. So I volunteered 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later, when we finally got Father, I talked to him, and I've been here since.
The possibility of the ceramics workshop creating another job to help one more person takes Father Biting to the home of Lewis Preston and his wife Icy. Cap has been working with this family of 7 to meet a variety of needs, including housing and employment. The Prestons' house was simply too far gone to repair, so rather than waste funds on fixing it, Cap has been working in partnership with a volunteer group from Louisville, Kentucky, led by CAP board member Robert Harrigan, to build the family a new house. A weekend at a time, it takes shape. First, a new house, and later a possible job for Lewis Preston in the ceramics factory. These are exciting possibilities for a family whose situation might have seemed hopeless to a partner with less vision and less persistence than Father Biting.
You know, by getting in here at Thanksgiving, it brings to our mind how grateful we are to all the people who have helped donate things. You know, we've got people who have donated us shingles. We've got people who have donated siding that's going to be used.
Is it going to be the vinyl siding?
It'll be vinyl siding.
Yeah.
And then we have the plywood that's needed for the floors and the outside perimeter walls. All that's been donated. So we have a lot of people that have made it possible for this to take place. So Thanksgiving would be a beautiful time to thank them in God's name for doing all the things. And then Christmas, it would be like Christ didn't have a home at Christmas, and now you all have a new home for Christmas. And it brings that joy of Christmas so much closer and so much more meaningful into your family. And wouldn't it be wonderful if all of us could help bring back those days? That we could stir up that enthusiasm in our people once more, and that there would be an outpouring of work and dreams and all kinds of productivity out of eastern Kentucky and central Kentucky once more. Let us pray for each other, that surely this may come about.
There are 1 million talents in the people of Appalachia. This Father Biting knows from traveling 1 million miles in the mountains, both as a friend to man and as a messenger of peace, love, and hope. The past is only the foundation upon which we build the future, says Father Biting. Today, Appalachia is still a place where the problems are mountain-sized. It is a region with few economic opportunities, yet this Father Biting knows is the greatest mountain of all to climb. Jobs are the key to helping God's people in Appalachia free themselves from the deeply rooted poverty and hopelessness that lies beyond the beautiful facade of their mountain homeland. To help the people of Appalachia climb this mountain, the Christian Appalachian Project has established a $10 million endowment to be named the Father Ralph W. Biting Founders Club. Contributions to the club will be used to establish a permanent investment fund. The interest will be used to support the CAP programs and to bring jobs to the mountains, while the principle is preserved. To make your contribution, write the Father Ralph W. Biting Founders Club, P.O. Box 459, Hager Hill, Kentucky, 41222.
You know, I'm going to be 72 years old in a couple of months, and the people at the Christian Appalachian Project that I began way back in 1937, or in 57, that they're beginning to suspect that someday I'm not going to be here, that I'm going to die. Well, it's a happy thought, but so far it hasn't come about. But what they're after is to say, look, Father, you've done so much when you were alive. Don't you think you ought to do some work while you're dead too? So they say, why don't you raise us some money so that when you die, the interest of that money may come and help the poor, and you can keep working all the time. You don't have to worry about dying. Oh, my friends, when you have buddies like that, you know you're in trouble. But nevertheless, it is a joy in my life to try to do that. And one of the things that we would like to do with the money they say to raise is to create jobs, to give the people in eastern Kentucky and the Appalachian 49 counties of our state an opportunity whereby they can help themselves, where they can be set free, where they're no longer the subject of servitude through welfare and all the other things that keep them down. And I would like for you to pray that some way God will loosen the hearts and minds of men and women, and that we will be able to get support, that we will be putting aside so that the interest off of that may do the good that needs to be done.
Someday they'll forget our names, but what we accomplish will never be forgotten.